Hello everyone, GM. Welcome back to another episode of Overpriced JPEGs and our favorite segment, Moment of Zeneca, with the one and only Zeneca33. Zeneca, welcome back to Overpriced JPEGs.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Is this our first recording this year?
No, we did one. We did the first. No.
That first week back. Yeah.
No is the answer.
Okay.
What is time?
What is time? Yeah.
We're going to get into all the good stuff this week. We got Proof Grails stuff happening, some changes to how they've done it in the past. We're going to talk about that. Some panic in the market from the DOJ. This is very temporary.
That
I
was
don't know
so
if you were
funny.
tracking this, but that was a funny fake out. DOJ rugged us in a positive way, I guess. Reddit community points. I don't know if you've been following the Reddit community points beta. We got to talk about that. Nat Geo did some stuff and it was a little bit disappointing. Lots of good things. Punk 60529, the memes. We were talking about this last time, I think, memes. But gotta pick it back up. So all the good stuff will, of course, start after we hear a word from our amazing sponsor, Ledger. Zeneca, have you gotten your Ledger stacks?
I have not yet. I saw they sold some NFTs where you can buy one and claim one, or I don't know, or you can pre-order.
Use the link, the Overpriced JPEGs link, to support the show.
There you go. I'll do that.
In the show notes, if you're a listener and you want to buy Ledger stacks, support the show in the process. And with that, here's our Ledger ad. Do y'all realize what's happening over at Ledger? That the #1 leader in digital asset security has teamed up with Tony Fadell, builder of the iPod, to revolutionize the experience of owning digital assets securely. They're doing this with Ledger STAX. This is the most premium product to date, and it's so user-friendly. Ledger STAX is a palm-sized device with a new e-Ink 2 display on the cover and around the spine, meaning you can view and confirm transactions at a glance. You can also customize your Ledger by displaying your favorite NFT on the cover, even when the device is off. Pair your new Ledger stacks with your Ledger Live to manage, earn, and hodl all your NFTs and over 500 coins. This space needs sleek user experiences, our iPod moment, and that's what Ledger has set out to do here without compromising their core promise of security. Keep your digital assets in the safest place they can be, a Ledger Stacks wallet. Trust yourself with Ledger Stacks and go to shop.ledger.com to pre-order your Ledger Stacks now. They're shipping in April. And if you use the link in our show notes to pre-order now, you'll be helping the show as well. Thank you. All right, let's start where we always start, which is just like high level, how you feeling? The bull continues.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, it does. I think it's like slowing down though. I mean, the crypto bull definitely like.
Yeah,
you know,
I feel that. I'm like
40%. Yeah,
it's pumping.
NFTs are in this precarious stage again, where I think last time we recorded, I guess 2 weeks ago, things started pumping. Like end of December, start of January, everything was off to a rocket. Now it's like teetering, and certain things are pumping, but it's not across the board. A lot of projects have come down a bunch, especially like ETH goes up. Sometimes NFT prices like readjust, and yeah, I'm feeling less bullish about NFTs, and I don't know what I feel about ETH. It's all over the place. Who knows? Who really knows? But
how are you feeling about 2023 writ large for all these assets? We'll temp check on that.
Yeah. I don't really have a good feeling either way. I think it's probably just going to be more of last year where certain collections will sort of break out from the pack and do really, really well. But I think as a whole, the market will probably still fizzle out. But one difference is last year we had all these like projects launched in 2021, like these mid-tier projects, you would say. There were like infinity of them, you know, these PFP projects that came out. There were every single day there were 10 launching. And in 2022, a ton of those like fizzled out. They ran out of money. The community dissipated. They were just there caring about the floor. But the ones that stuck around and survived, they're now like, I think coming out of the shells and like coming into their own. Like Pudgy Penguins is a really great example. Sappy Seals. There's so many like that. And I think we're probably going to see a lot of momentum from those projects, and everything else I think will continue to fizzle out.
The other thing is, in as we talk about these market dynamics, and I get we're like, you know, teetering a little bit here. The open edition meta like continues, and I guess I feel like things are the market is still alive and well. There was somebody, I think you have the name maybe, who sold out, or it didn't sell out. It's an open edition, right? But made like 600,000, the equivalent of like 600,000 USD in like 15 minutes with an open edition they did.
Proceed with Caution by Des Lucrece. I'm certainly butchering their last name, but yeah, 15 minutes. I think it was 0.06 or zero point zero 0.08 mint price, and yeah,
And they sold 8,000. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of butchering, Jack Butcher, Jack Butcher, an artist, had one that minted for 0.01, an open edition that's up to zero point 0.4 due to burn mechanics that they added after the fact. He did sort of like the currency Damien Hirst thing where he had an open edition for a set period of time, and then after there were opportunities to burn it, and it also even looked Damien Hirst like. It was like these check marks.
It looks really cool.
With different colors that were sort of in rows, but it looked very cool, and it was obviously a play on the symbolism of check marks, which is very in vogue right now. I feel like overpriced JPEGs, we were kind of we rode this wave well. We did the open edition right as the open edition meta was really having its moment.
Was it November, late November, early December, something?
Mid-December. I think we launched December 15th. We opened up the mint.
Nice.
So, and then you had all these artists over the holidays doing it. I was like, everyone's just trying to copy that OPJ NFT. What can I say?
Hey, Zen Academy, November 2021.
You did November 2021?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. We all just copied Zeneca. As always. I'm
sure someone else did it before me.
I mean, yeah. It's all a joke. Open edition has been
I saw it from Art Blocks. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually got my idea from Avery Akinani, so I can't even take credit. Avery was like, Carly, you should do an open edition for these. And I was like,
yeah,
yes, ma'am. Whatever you tell me to do, I do. All right, well, let's talk about where I'm feeling quite bullish, which is Reddit community points. How much have you been tracking this story, Zeneca?
Very little. I saw, obviously, I know about the avatars like months back, and then I saw in the document that you sent over beforehand about, and I was reading, and I was like, this is really interesting. So tell us.
Yeah, I'm so psyched about this. And, it's funny. This had been in some corner of the Reddit roadmap. You could find stuff about this even back when the avatars were popping off. And I had spoken to somebody at Reddit and was talking about the avatar program to get a lay of the land there, and then was asking about this community points thing. And the answer I got was very, I don't know now if this person was simply trying to throw me off the scent or something, or if they actually just didn't know anything about this particular program, because I was led to believe that the community points thing wasn't actually crypto backed. And lo and behold, it's incredibly crypto backed. So basically this is a program that's in Reddit right now. It's in beta. I have some notes here, so I may be checking them because I want to make sure I get all of this right. But it's all of the lip service we would want paid. It's, hey, we want the members of these subreddits of Reddit communities to be the owners of those Reddit communities in the form of having some governance say over it. Basically, if you are a big contributor and participator of a particular subreddit, you should be rewarded for that participation and for all the contributions you are making to that community. And community points are their plan to do that. So a little unclear on how exactly these will be distributed. There's a lot of documentation around these Reddit points, so there's probably something in there that folks can find on it. But basically, if you're contributing, if you're doing a lot in a subreddit, you'll get community points, and then maybe there's a poll that gets put up in that subreddit community, which will be enabled. These polls will be enabled for communities who are in the community points beta, and that poll will be about, I don't know, something governance related to that sub community. Your votes will be weighted heavier if you have these Reddit community points. These Reddit community points, they talk about they're interoperable, so other websites can start incorporating Reddit points into elements of their website, so it can become this like internet-wide reputation. You can use your community points to buy things like custom badges and coins. I mean, this is a whole elaborate system that is a little bit intimidating for me to wrap my head fully around, but to me feels like it would be a no-brainer given how well the Reddit community responded to the avatar program.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that this will also feel really fun and just like a way to gamify Reddit and to reward people who have been longtime amazing Redditors. There's a couple other interesting things to note that I'll bring up, but want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it's amazing. I think it's like just the next level from what they did with the avatars, onboarding a lot of people. I'm curious, I don't know if you know the answer, but in this documentation, in the way it's being communicated to the Reddit users, is crypto mentioned anywhere? Like with the, yeah.
Yes. I would say not excessively, but throughout the documentation, it's very clear this is blockchain backed, and that it's like the crypto future. Let me see if where they say it. I'm on the website now. I think they strike a really good balance, is what I would say.
Nice.
Like the upfront marketing is your clear, concise, own your reputation, right? Community points are a measure of reputation in your community. In the super brief upfront marketing, it doesn't mention crypto and it doesn't mention blockchain. But when you read deeper, it's quite clear, and they use the terms crypto and blockchain, and if you really want to understand the guts of this thing, it's pretty clear. So which I think is the right balance.
Yeah.
What's so interesting is this is on Arbitrum Nova. So this is a new chain. I mean, it's Arbitrum connected.
Yeah.
But it doesn't roll up to L1 the way Arbitrum does. It has a committee system. I don't fully understand it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Bankless recently did like a big update on Arbitrum. Like a day ago, they put out a big episode about Arbitrum that I did not have a chance to watch before this, but maybe we'll link to it. I imagine they talk about this, though I can't say for certain. But yeah, I mean, it gets super deep and technical, but it's interesting given that they did the avatars on Polygon, that they're doing the points on Arbitrum Nova. It's sort of in fitting with how I like Slate, some of like the optimistic rollups versus like a ZK rollup. I think of ZK rollup as a little bit more NFT connected, and I think of optimistic rollups as a little bit more like ERC20s. Nova is positioning itself, Arbitrum Nova is positioning itself as built for gaming and social tokens. So high transaction volume. I think Reddit is probably a dream use case for them of what they're going for. I actually shot an email out to the person that I've been talking to at Reddit to ask about that decision. I haven't heard back yet, but would love to get a little bit more. I'm just curious, like, why companies are going with which chains they're going with.
Yeah.
These days. Especially when it's not a case of like Warner and Palm, where Warner owns a part of Palm Network. And so you're like, well, that's why they're going with it. And
I didn't know that. That makes so much sense then.
Oh yeah. Warner was an early like backer investor or whatever.
I was so confused by why the Game of Thrones drop was on Ethereum and Palm, but that makes total sense.
I mean, I hope I'm right. I get so nervous now. I'm like, I'm fair. I'm
it
like
makes a lot of sense.
Confident. Yeah. So folks, subreddit communities, like the beta is open. You can apply right now to have your subreddit be in the beta. I think it's moderators who apply for this. Another fun Reddit fact that I would like to call out that I heard recently from somebody I trust, and this is probably all verifiable blockchain, but 6 million, we're up to 6 million Reddit wallets.
That's so many.
Vaults for Reddit avatars. So cool.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So cool.
That's great. That's great.
It's so interesting too. Reddit is doing a bunch of hiring. This was actually, there was a whole funny Reddit thread about this itself. I think it says Reddit is mass hiring to work on potentially community points or avatar marketplace. There's like within a Reddit thread and somebody was like, Reddit's hiring too much, or like what, I don't know, it was some funny thing. But it's interesting, in this era of all these like big corporate layoffs and things, Reddit just posted a ton of new jobs, all connected to crypto, cybersecurity, crypto security. So they're all in and like very bullish for sure. A couple quotes and then we'll fully move on. They not only represent ownership and reputation within the community, but can also be used for community governance, moderation, and unlocking premium features. They can even be used in custom tools outside of Reddit and on other platforms. Another quote that I liked, communities are the lifeblood of the internet, but on today's internet, they are not in charge of their own destiny. Instead, they are controlled by the large platforms that hold all the power online. It's time for a change. Community points are the first step towards a different future for online communities. These tokens live on a blockchain, which means they are truly owned by the community. Over time, your community will benefit from even greater control and independence on and off Reddit.
Very, very interesting. I love this.
All the things you want to hear. I think they're genuine in it. I really do. I don't think this is a lip service corporate cash grab bait and switch. I don't even know how it could be. It's exciting. Okay, on to Proof Grails Season 3. You're a Proof holder, right? You participate in Grails.
I am.
Right?
I have my Grail pass. I haven't minted mine yet.
Okay. Do you know which one you want to mint?
Not yet. I haven't had haven't had to look through them much. I've like looked briefly through them all, but I haven't like gone through and seen like all the detective work that people have done, and but this season's different because some of them are already like minted out, so I've missed some of them, which
You
is
have.
yeah.
We should talk about that. But I will ask, have you seen Grail 3?
Yes.
The one that's getting a lot of hype?
It's like a crayon child drawing type thing.
Yes. It looks like a little bit phallic, or maybe there's like it's a semen reference, but it looks like it was drawn by a child, only for the fact that I know it wasn't drawn by a child, or I guess I don't know, but we're assuming it wasn't drawn by a child. Do I get fewer? Like, does that make me think it's not?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
I'm saying it's partly phallic because I know it's probably done by an adult, but yes, it looks like a child drew it. Okay, so do you want to explain to folks, are you up on what the changes are, or would you like me to run the fine people through the changes to Grails?
I'll have a go at it, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But basically, the way it worked previously was they had these mint passes. They were airdropped to anyone that had a proof pass, and last time, I think they gave it to anyone who had a Moonbird with a Grail trait. This time, they gave out like 10 to the people who had a Moonbird with a Grail trait, something like that. And there were like 20 or 25 artists, and you had like a week to decide. People saw the artwork, but not the artist's name. So you could decide which one to mint. And there was an unlimited amount of all of them. So anyone could mint however many. You could have one piece that had like 4 minted and one that had 200 minted. This time around, they've broken it up into, what are they calling them? Editions?
Editions and series.
Editions and series. So editions, I believe, are, let's say the artist decides, I only want to have 50 of these. They're exactly the same, and people can mint up to 50. And once the 50th has been minted, no more of that Grail can be minted. Series are, I'm actually not sure. You tell me what is that where it's like more generative?
Yeah. So it's multiple works. It's like what you can pull varies, right? So in the editions, like you said, you're guaranteed to get one piece of art. In the series, if you mint a series, you don't know exactly what you're getting. It's not necessarily generative art itself, but it has that mechanic of like you don't know necessarily what you're getting in advance, and there's randomization in terms of the collection. So it's from an artist. It's like multiple works from an artist's collections, basically, or from their works.
Nice.
Maybe it's all generative, but I don't think so. I
don't think it is either. Now that I'm trying to remember, like an artist could create 10 pieces, and so it could be a series of 150, and so there's 15 of each of those 10, and you get a random one or something like that.
And they capped, did you say this? They capped it this year. So it used to be that it was only editions and it was unlimited. You could pick whichever one you wanted to mint. This time around, they've capped that so that there's only 50 editions of this particular piece of art will be minted, which is why you've missed out on some of them, because some of them have already minted out.
Yeah. Or 150 for the series ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Grail 3 here at the top. We were describing looks like a piece of child crayon drawing that would belong on a refrigerator of some overly proud parents. But it's had the biggest sales. So out of the 10 Grail sales so far, six have been for Grail 3 for this particular drawing. And the prices, it's like gone for between like 4.5 ETH and 5.5 ETH for the child crayon drawing. I think it was on the back of speculation that it was like a Beeple or like Elon Musk, or I think there were some really wild theories going around as to who that particular artist was. And so it's definitely attracting the most attention of all of the Grails this time around.
Wow. If it's a Beeple, it's very different to his usual style.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm flying out to LA actually tomorrow. So when this airs on Friday, I'm going to go hang out with the proof team.
That's
fun.
fun.
Some stuff. So I'm going to try and see if I can get some insider alpha, go hang out with the team and see what I can weasel out of them while we're there.
Nice.
The reveal happens January 27th. So there's a big reveal party as well for holders. Next
that's always
Friday,
fun.
I guess that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Math. It's the 19th today. So yeah. In my head, that's like a lot longer away, but the 27th,
I know. I'm like, the end of the month, it's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Time again.
Okay, in less fun news, or just like silly news. I'm gonna bucket this stuff as like silly crypto news. The 3 Hours Capital founders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The 3 Hours Capital's founders are trying to raise $25 million for a new exchange. It's being labeled FTX 2.0 because they're calling it GTX because G comes after F. It's a direct play on FTX. I mean, it feels like a parody when you first see it.
Yeah.
I had a good tweet about this.
It still feels like a parody.
It does feel like I had a good tweet. I said, "What the Guck?" Because G comes after F. I know. Good. It was kind of underrated. It did. Somebody commented that on it, so it's not just me who thinks that. I was like, "This is a good tweet. It should get more love." Suzu, Kyle Davies, who we don't even actually know definitively where either of them are living. They're both like on the lam.
I think Dubai, actually. Like,
isn't one of them in Dubai and one of them's on like an island?
That's very possible. Honestly, like they could both. Yeah, who knows really? But yeah.
And 3 Arrows they blew up. They didn't do anything fraudulent. So they're not like indicted for anything. They were heavily invested in Lunaterra situation stuff. So when that imploded, they exploded as a hedge fund. And
I think they did a lot of really shady stuff where they were effectively lying to like people and trying to get people to invest more money and get more money so they could, pay off debts, and they weren't transparent with the people that they had their money. And there was definitely a lot more. Okay. I think they're closer to like the fraudulent side than like the innocent side. Got it.
Okay. It's hard to keep them all straight. I was like,
seriously,
I remember, I guess were they, I guess I'm thinking of Celsius. Like I'm conflating their shady tactics with Celsius's shady tactics.
Yeah. I think Celsius was less malicious, perhaps.
Oh, really? Okay. So I'm probably just completely reversing these stories.
Or maybe Celsius was just as bad. It's what a year, 2022.
I know. So who's who of just like hucksters and fraudsters. Okay. So this is atrocious. The only interesting thing, we don't have to talk too much about this here because who cares? I mean, let them not raise this money. So GTX will leverage CoinFlex's technology. So GTX, this new thing they're trying to raise money for, is partnering with something called CoinFlex to build the exchange, and a legal team will be responsible for overseeing the onboarding of claims for all the recent crypto bankruptcies, such as Celsius and Voyager.
I'm really interested to know what that means.
I tried to dig and find, and I, in my feeble, non-legal mind, couldn't find anything that made any more sense to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if somebody smart out there wants to tweet at us and tell us what it means, that was sort of why I wanted to bring this up, because I actually am genuinely curious what the angle is here. Because I find with this stuff, everything that looks like a parody on the surface but is real, when you dig deeper, there is something there usually, where you're like...
Yeah, well, my first instinct was it sounds like this is just another way to scam people, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's so obvious. They're and maybe they just won't, maybe they are and they just can't raise the 25 million, but...
Yeah. God, I hope they don't raise it.
I hope they don't raise it either, but my hunch is that there's something more they're doing here, and I don't know, that bankruptcy thing struck me as maybe it.
That's interesting.
In additional, like, kind of parody news, so the DOJ releases this thing that they, like, crypto regulation announcement coming.
We're holding a press conference.
Do you want to tell the story? Were you tracking this?
Yeah, I was. So, like, yesterday at, I think it was like 11 a.m. Eastern, there was this press release that went out. CoinDesk and all the news sites picked it up and said at midday, so within like an hour, the DOJ is holding a press conference to announce some like international regulatory enforcement strategy or something like that. And that's pretty scary. And like the list of people that they had that were attending, it's like all these, government departments. And so the market tanked, I don't know, several percent. People were like, well, are they coming after Binance? I mean, there was some FUD about that. Are they just like making it impossible for Americans to, deposit any funds? Or this Coinbase getting hit? All of this speculation. And then it comes out that they're going after some Russian crypto exchange that most of us had never heard about. And I mean, it's good that they're going after a shady exchange, it sounds like, and persecuting the person behind it. I think he was hiding out in Florida, like in America or something.
In Miami, I think he got arrested in Miami.
I saw the funniest meme. That one where it's like the soldier protecting something and then all the arrows are coming down, and then like someone's dying, or like a person or a country. and it's like all the arrows. It's like, FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Luna, and then behind the soldiers protecting the crypto market from this Russian exchange. And it's just
yeah.
yeah.
That's so true. That was still one of my favorite tweets. Was when the SEC fined Kim Kardashian, and David Hoffman tweeted, he was like, "Thank God we have Gary Gensler and the SEC to protect us from checks notes Kim Kardashian." Like, all the shit that's going on this year. But he got Kim. She paid her fine.
Yeah. She paid her rounding error for her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, for the $1 billion that she brings in. That's so. It was a $700 million Russian exchange or something. I mean, it was, I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah. And he's a Russian national who lives in China, I thought, but was in Miami for some reason, which I don't know how you make that logic make sense, to be honest. But whatever. I mean, sounds like he was doing shady things, and glad he's arrested, and a lot of hoopla. I'm guessing they just wanted to make it seem like they're doing something. I assume that all of the things that like government actors do right now at this stage in crypto is posturing for like normies who think, or for people who are like tracking it enough to feel that crypto is bad and terrible, which I feel like is a lot of the population at this point, but not enough to actually know what's going on. And they just want to look, like they're on it for those people. And this seems like a good thing to have done. So great, you did something good. And I don't know, I guess you got it. So, okay. MoviePass has officially closed a seed round funded by Animoca, and I'm so confused because I thought MoviePass was shutting down. I have been on such a roller coaster with MoviePass. We've talked about this on the show before.
We did this like, I don't know, a year ago. You were extraordinarily excited that MoviePass was doing some NFT thing, and that was the first time I heard of it. It's the last time I've heard of it. What's happened since then? Okay, let's go on this journey together. So a quick primer for those who don't know, or if you're not in the United States, because I know Zeneca, you were like, this is some American shit right here. MoviePass was a thing that like hit in a blaze of glory in like 2016, 2017. The premise was you basically got to see unlimited movies, in a given week. If you paid $20, you paid like $20 a month. It was something extremely cheap, and you would pay like $20 a month, and you could see unlimited movies. I think it was even cheaper than that. And everyone was like it felt totally untenable. And as it turned out, it was totally untenable. And the company was absolutely just hemorrhaging money, and it went away, and like boo-hoo. And it was, it was one of those things that was touted as like the thing that was going to save the movie theater industry here in the States. And folks were all, really excited about it. Anyway, it flames out. And then last year, it emerges, Stacy Spikes, who was the original MoviePass founder, comes out with like a profile. There's a profile of him in Time Magazine or I don't know if it was Time, The Atlantic, one of these, right? Does this profile on him, and where he basically says like, the company got hijacked by like these private equity funds essentially, and they drove it into the ground, and I'm bringing it back to kind of bring it back to my more core vision. And I was just excited as like a MoviePass fan. I was like, hell yeah, MoviePass is back. And it's a redemption story about Stacy Spikes. And I'm like, let's do it. And then, but you got towards the end of this article, they like throw in a little thing with blockchain. And it becomes clear that you're talking about a points system that would make a lot of sense to exist on blockchain, where this sort of like you accrue, benefits points that you can exchange for free movie tickets and just things that rang very blockchain-y. And then I thought, and maybe I've just literally lost my mind, but because I was trying to find it, I thought that also went bust, and there was something with, I thought that it had like already flamed out again, but apparently not. And apparently I was totally misled, and it was fake news that I had been fed about that, because they just closed a seed round and Animoca led it. So Animoca is officially in the MoviePass business. Don't have a ton of details about exactly what they're planning here. Let's see. It says it's announced it has raised its seed financing led by Animoca. They also have Claritas Capital, Emerald Plus, Harlem Capital, PKOVC. I don't know these folks. Sandhill Angels as part of the deal. Sui will join. So Yatsui, who's the founder of Animoca, or the CEO, will join the board of MoviePass. It's a subscription movie-going service. They have not said how much they've raised as part of this round, but they may do another round of financing at the end of 2023 or 2024.
And yeah, so there's not a ton about what the blockchain components of this will fully look like. MoviePass has a strong vision for technology in the field of entertainment, and our investment, this is from Yatsui, demonstrates our commitment to maximizing the value that MoviePass can deliver across the film industry with initiatives to increase traffic to theaters, engage audiences with enhanced cinematic experiences. I smell NFTs, connect studios and their franchise characters to movie fans, and make financing more accessible to aspiring filmmakers. We believe that MoviePass will help define the future of cinema. So that's what we've got. This again, I am drawn towards things that to me could have mainstream appeal and have a blockchain component, which is why I love the Reddit stuff. You know, I don't know, whatever else we were talking about this morning. Like I love Pudgy Penguins, and it's cool that they're on a cereal box, but I don't know how they onboard mainstream people who are already sort of inclined towards like digital art collectible stuff at this point, just given the current state of NFTs. I think that can change moving forward. But so I get excited about like MoviePass stuff, about Reddit stuff. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this.
Honestly, I don't know much about MoviePass, but I think it's just another way of like NFTs or crypto being incorporated to like ticketing or rewards or loyalty programs. And like that is really what is such a huge industry, and it touches like everyone is like involved in one way or another. And so very curious to see what they end up doing with it. Like, I guess we'll see this year or next year.
Transitioning back to the DGen side, I want to do a profile. I want to do a little overview, and we'll probably do this again next week because it feels like they're on fire right now. On the memes by Punk6529.
Love the memes.
You love the memes.
I love memes. I love the memes. Yeah.
The memes. I love both. You love both.
I love memes.
Yeah, we talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, I'm a broken record here.
It's earlier than we usually record these, folks, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in who knows what time zone. Anytime we record these, you're always all over the map. So we joked last time because you said you love memes.
I think I was talking about... And
you were like, and I missed the boat on buying the memes, which was so silly. Or am I conflating this?
No, I missed the boat on Meme Land. That was the one I missed.
Memeland. Oh, too many meme projects now, you know? Yeah, right. That's right. And I missed the boat on potatoes and Memeland too, and I just totally effed that one out. I did not miss the boat on the memes. I did have a meme. I did have a meme from the meme collection. I did end up selling it because it was pumping, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to track this project with enough diligence to time this perfectly. So I'm gonna take a little profit, learn from last cycle when I did not take enough, and. Yeah, we're gonna call that a day. So this is a project that's pumping. Like this is still, you talk about there's some projects that are, as we're kind of teetering on the edge with NFTs, it seems like this is still doing really well. And there was a thread that we'll link to that was trying to give some context into why. I guess they're right, but I'll say this as some brief overview, and then I'll get your thoughts, and then we'll talk about maybe why it's pumping. Folks, I'm sure know 6529, and he has basically intermittently released these seasons. He does these seasons where he'll release sets of memes where he's partnered with artists that I think he likes to spread messages about the open metaverse. So again, they're memes, or about messages that he thinks should be spread. And that's the collection. Those are the collections. And I don't even remember what I minted it for. I think it was really cheap.
0.06529. I believe they're all at that same price.
Oh, that makes sense. Really? I would have thought I would have remembered that. Okay. So,
I think so.
0.06529?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it definitely didn't mint it for 6529. So yeah, 0.06529. Great. And, they pumped up. The one that I had we're selling around an ETH when I ended up selling out. So have you been tracking this? You said you're a fan. You have a bunch. What's your deal?
So I don't know, 4 months ago, I bought, there's about 60 of them out now. They release like three a week these days. Several months ago, I bought a full set, or two full sets rather, when there were like 10 or 15 of them. Because I was like, memes, I love memes. I love 6529. I love the art. I love the artists behind it. This is great. Let's get. And then I like lost track and didn't really stay on top of it. But the way it works generally is that like Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the system they're going through now. They'll release a new card every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And in order to be on the allow list to mint, they mix it up with like what requirements there are. Usually it's like a combination of the artist will allocate some to like holders of their one of ones and their other collections, and then some percentage will be allocated to people who own previous meme cards. So those who've been collecting from the beginning, if they've been tracking it, have like been able to build up a very significant collection buying these things for 0.06529, which generally nowadays get to like immediately selling for like half an ETH to 1 ETH, maybe more depending on the artist. And it's just brilliant what 6529 has done. I call it the greatest Ponzi of all time, but like an actually like a benevolent good Ponzi, if that's possible, because the mint price is low. An extremely large percentage of the funds goes back to the artists. The pieces are CC0, so anyone can use the art. They're spreading really powerful, good messages about an open metaverse, about seizing the means of production, about GM, and just like what we're fighting for. And it's just like the artists that are involved are just some of the best in the space. There's Xcopy, there's Kath Simard, there's Grant Yun, there's just like, and 50 or 60 more. And I just can't see this ever not being tremendously valuable, because the amount of people and like mental attention that it's generating, and the way that they've structured it, where if you're a collector, you have a high percentage chance of getting onto the next one, and the value of that's going to go up, because if they just keep getting tremendous artists, then why would they not be worth a lot? And it's just the greatest Ponzi of all time.
So people are trying to game it now, where they're trying to game out how to make sure that, like, you know, it's sort of this like, how do I collect the right ones so that I can get or I think it's like, how do I predict the future artists so I can have their one of one, so I can get the memes? Like, it feels like there's a lot of games like being played now to be a part of this ecosystem. I just get overwhelmed. Like, you know, again, I was actually tracking this a little bit. It feels like a long time ago. Like, I don't know when I minted my meme, but this has to have been happening for a while, because I think I minted my meme.
6+ months, 8 months maybe.
Yeah, I feel like I was like in a hotel room in conference season at the beginning of last year when I minted my last meme is what I feel like. So it would have been like the beginning half of last year. Maybe I'm wrong, but and you know, it just gets hard to track everything. And
it's really difficult to track. I mean, I lost track, but now I think it's helped that there's a structure: Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the same time. There's a drop, and we actually like. Somewhat selfishly, I created a whole channel in Zen Academy in the Discord called 6529 memes, because a lot of people were talking about it. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to stay on top of it, because every single day I see this channel and get to see and make sure that I'm minting when I can. Yeah.
Wow. That's dedication. And is this season 3? So this Monday, Wednesday, Friday cadence. 2. Oh, it's only season 2. And
season 2 only started at the start of this year. It's like season 1 was like really long, 50 cards or something. Season 2 has just begun.
Got it. And do we know how long it will run for?
We might. I don't. I imagine, I don't know, 4 to 6 months is my guess. It's possible it lasts the whole year, possible half the year. I don't really know.
Oh, see, you know, this is cool, because like people know I like words, you know what I mean? Like, I like things, I'm not like a pure artist person. Like, I always like things where like the eponyms, where you could type something in and then generate something. So I'm such a words girl that I'm like, damn, this is cool. I should have minted more when I did. If I had more of them, then I'd be inclined to keep them. But I had one. I was like, I don't know, I'm not getting into future mints per se, you know, so I'll take the profit off the one. But like this is fun. It would be fun to have a collection of.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Oh,
and the art is amazing. That's like the reason it's the greatest Ponzi is because there are excellent artists creating excellent art with like limited supplies, 420 X copies. Like that's an addition. Like that's just inherently going to be valuable.
Yeah. And it's also sassy and irreverent, which is my favorite. I love shit that's sassy and irreverent. Yeah. So I'm looking at one of the ones here that's it's like a rare Pepe. It's Sam Bankman-Fried's like.
Oh yeah, FTX, yeah.
And then it says use a hardware wallet, you know, and it's like
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it looks better when you actually visually see it, but this is like a cool little collectible card game. Do we know, is there a utility planned?
As far as I'm aware, no. Like the utility is being eligible to mint future ones, which is why it's such a great Ponzi. And so like now, like there are people that will say, all right, I'm going to spend 10 ETH, buy a bunch of cards so that I can mint the next ones, hoping to mint them for 0.06529 and then sell them for 1 ETH each. And then, but yeah, like there's actual value because art is the utility. This is art. This is great art. These are great memes. And the more people that get involved, the greater attention the entire collection gets, the more people talking about it, and we know we live in an attention economy. So
this just seems like a no-brainer collectible, right? Like this is clear. Like you can totally see how something like this would have value in 5 years as like if you have a complete set of the memes, you know, like I just see it in that vein in a way that I don't necessarily. There's plenty of 10K PFP projects that I'm not like, maybe this would be a collector's item in 10 years, but I don't know. But this has that feel of like print these on a pack of playing cards. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's interesting, fun things you can do that. And you love your CC0. So of course you love this.
Yeah, it's brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, it's everything you love. 6529, I think Raoul Powell just did like a 2.5 hour episode or interview with 6529. He did one of these last year, and now he's done another one that I think is coming out today or tomorrow, which I'm really excited to check out. I interviewed Raoul yesterday. We should shout out if you have an OPJ NFT, you could have come and hung out with us live. It was very fun.
Nice.
And he's got one coming out, so I definitely want to check that out. 6529 is such a legend.
He is. He really is.
Okay, do you want to talk about sewer passes? I don't have too many hot takes on sewer passes, but I'd be curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say about them. It is. So I haven't been tracking it really closely. The TLDR is, if you have, there's 4 tiers of these passes, and you're able to mint one or claim one for free if you have a mutant or a bored ape, and then if you pair that with a dog, you get a slightly better tier. And these passes are NFTs that can be used to play a video game that Yuga released, I think today. It will be open for a couple of weeks. And then based on the points that you get in the game, you'll be eligible to mint some new NFT. And so it's interesting because it's kind of potentially pay to win. Like if you can pay for like a professional gamer to play for you, can you get I don't think we know exactly what the difference is for someone who's like a really casual gamer and just plays a couple times, gets a really low score versus someone who's a professional and gets the highest score possible. What influence that's going to have on the end result of the NFTs. So I've heard some FUD, I guess, about how it's like this pay to win type thing, and it's not really fair, it's not really equal. But again, we don't really know what impact or effect it's going to have. It's just another interesting Yuga drop where they're trying to give value back to holders, and I don't know, just the Yuga Ponzi continues. Everything's a Ponzi in one area or another.
Ponzi.
But there are good Ponzis.
Bill Gates
and
is right.
Ponzis.
It's all a greater fool theory. Do you know for sure what the supply is? We were sort of going back and forth about this at the top.
I believe it's 30,000 for sewer passes.
Where can I find
potential.
it?
I don't know. There's a bunch of Yuga websites now. Like there's
MXDXVV
something. Yeah. Like there's 10,000 apes and 20,000 mutants. And I believe the only way to get one is to have an ape or a mutant and you claim. So the maximum possible supply should be 30,000.
Somebody was saying 12,711, which is a very specific number.
That is very specific.
Wrong. But I'm not saying they're not.
I think 16,000 have been minted. Sorry to interrupt. I just checked OpenSea.
Oh, so 16,000 have been minted. So definitely more than a supply of 12,000. So
yeah.
So it must be 30,000. You must be right.
I think so. Yeah.
And I think the biggest kind of negative feedback that I'm hearing about this is a play on the pay to win argument, which is a lot of people are like, hey, I don't really want to. I don't know if Sam was saying this on the podcast last week or if somebody else has said this to me privately. I don't even know if it was Sam, but being like, I don't have time. I don't want to play this game. Maybe you were saying it. I can't really play this game. This isn't necessarily what I need or want, but you guys got to do something. I'm sympathetic to that. So we'll see. We'll see at the end when this whole journey has played itself out. I think it's too early to make any strong judgments yet. Okay. Flipping back, we've been doing a little back and forth between the DGen side and the more corporate side. Flipping back to the corporate side here for our last main story, and then we'll maybe do some just final soundbitey bits of news. National Geographic. I'm sad about this one. Have you been following what's happening with National Geographic?
Not really. I saw that they tweeted and there was some Instagram post and there's a lot of backlash, which you expect anytime this happens and the normies see it, but I didn't really see what they were doing or why they were doing it.
So National Geographic was launching an NFT collection with I don't know the number of artists. 16. Okay, it was 16 pretty big photographers whose works were being minted and sold as like an inaugural NFT collection. I was actually pretty jazzed about this because the works were beautiful. I really like nature. Like I follow a lot of travel and nature accounts on Instagram because I find it very soothing. And so I was seriously considering like maybe I'll pick up one of these. And my first like clunk experience was like things on the website weren't working great. And I don't actually know if this is National Geographic's fault or not. But I could not switch to Polygon, to Matic. Like I still can't. I still just get an error message on MetaMask every time I'm trying to switch to the Matic network. And it's been like 3 days now. I'm sure this is user error in some way, but I'm like texting my friends like a picture of the error message I'm getting being like, what am I doing wrong? Like what's going wrong here? But so I just kind of gave up on the experience. I was trying to sign up. They had like you could sign up for like a list to then get to be able to mint. So, and that existed for a period of a couple days. So I was trying to sign up for that. I couldn't get that to work on their webpage. Like I would click the thing and then when it did kind of boot up, then I couldn't transition to Matic and the whole thing was just like, I was like, all right, fine. So, it just goes to show how just incredibly clunky and horrible the Web3 experience still is. And honestly, it always makes me bullish because like this will be fixed. Like this will not be for forever. Early. And how many more people are going to be into this when you don't have to deal with this? I mean, I couldn't even be bothered to stick with it and I'm completely in this space. So
you're all in.
The real problems began once minting did start. So they're doing this through a platform, a website, a company called Snow Crash, no doubt a reference to the Neil Stephenson novel that brought us the metaverse. And there were a lot of hoops people had to jump through. There was like KYCing stuff. It was priced in like $215 of Matic. Like it wasn't priced in ETH. And you had to like get that transferred to the Snow Crash platform. It was like a really lengthy how-to. Like there were just a lot of hoops for this one. Okay, like I don't necessarily hate having to KYC. Like you're a brand like National Geographic, but it definitely started to feel like the vibe I got as somebody who didn't even get the chance to go through this, like was people just felt like it wasn't the kind of cleanest process. It was very like, again, why Matic? Now we have to transfer the Matic instead of just being able to do ETH or something we would more natively have there. Nobody has this much Matic in their wallet. They just have it for transactions, whatever. They also, this just felt like kind of a noob move. I think at some point in this process, Snow Crash or Nat Geo like offered to repay people's gas fees. And everyone was like, it's Polygon. Like it was a fraction of a cent. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not helpful or nice. Like what? Like it was just very weird. But and then the mint itself ran into a bunch of challenges. I'm reading this. So the mint itself ran into a bunch of challenges, even aside from those hoops. So it then just stopped at like 15%. Like 15% are minted. They didn't even mint out, but there was energy around it to mint out, except for these challenges happened. And then they didn't turn off like links in the Discord. So then the Discord was just getting hit with tons of links, where that hadn't been turned off. Like it was just, it's all of the things. And then people were really upset. And then here's the kicker. Oh, and this is so bad. Amidst all of the how-tos, all of the this, all of the whatever, it was, people were not aware enough that, so there's a mint, the Magic Link wallet, which is like the Snow Crash custodial wallet, which, okay, you have a custodial option. Great, no problem. That's, that's fine. You can then transfer it over to your MetaMask. But at the smart contract level, they have currently blocked trading it on OpenSea. The Snow Crash marketplace is opening, I think, in about a month. And they are clearly trying to get all transaction on the Snow Crash marketplace. So they have smart contract, they have hard-coded in basically blocks for, I'm assuming all of their marketplaces. They only specifically called out OpenSea, but I can't imagine they're trying to specifically penalize OpenSea. And a bunch of people in the Discord are just waking up to this fact and finding out that there's like no liquidity for their NFT because they can't trade it anywhere other than a marketplace that hasn't even launched yet.
That is terrible. That should be front and center before you mint. Hey, you can't trade this unless it's on a marketplace which doesn't exist. That's terrible. That's not even an NFT really. Yeah.
I mean, there were people asking, and I felt bad for the moderator. I always kind of feel bad for the mods. Like they're just getting inundated with questions, and some of the answers, I felt like initially their answers, initially I was like, do they not know how blockchain works, or are they being like just intentionally trying to like kind of give vague answers that people don't know? But when folks got kind of hard and fast with them, like, is this hard coded into the smart contract? Like, is that what's happening? They were finally like, yes. And then somebody asked, is this permanent? Like, is this, and they said, like, unclear. So I think they may end up getting bullied into having to change their policy here. So my thoughts are a couple-fold. One, it made me wonder if Nat Geo has a stake in Snow Crash, as we were talking about earlier. I have no idea if that's true. This is complete speculation on my part, only because of what I've seen with like Warner and Palm, which usually when these big brands go for like sort of an off-brand like partner, Snow Crash.
There's some connection.
It's usually because they have some relationship. Snow Crash has partnerships lined up with Nat Geo, with UMC, with Universal Music Group, or UMG, Universal Music Group, with like a Sony Music Group. Like they're clearly going the route of getting these big partners and then trying to use those big partner names to bolster their own platform. I have found this typically doesn't go great, No. Like I feel like Recur is trying to revamp things, but has a lot of community backlash, is fairly shambly. Like I just don't think, going for these kind of, I don't know, monopolistic, not that Recur was monopolistic per se, but when you try and bolster your platform by having these partnerships, it just feels like it always ends poorly.
Yeah. If you're a big brand and you're listening to this, launch on ETH mainnet and just do what everyone else does.
Yes.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
Or Polygon. And I mean, these were Polygon NFTs, but they were going that route. It's this partner that has actually just like forbid the whole reason you would be on Polygon or like be on ETH. Like, the interoperability is the point here. You want liquidity for your collection. This isn't helping you. You're not going to be able to bootstrap Snow Crash marketplace for them just because you're Nat Geo. But I also say, and I'm like too sensitive as a human being, I think, but then I feel bad because I look on social media, the Snow Crash team is responding to every tweet. Like, these are not rug pullers. Do I think they've completely gone about this all wrong? Yeah, I think they've gone about this all wrong. But I am always just grateful when brands are trying to play, when they're trying to do something. And I never want to like scare people away by just being like heinous and angry and like throwing poop only. So, I mean, look, I hope they can figure this out. What my feedback would be like, it's like, turn around this policy. Like, get it together, fix whatever tech's not working, fix your policy of blacklisting every other marketplace it appears other than your own. And then thank you for making an effort in the space and whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's we want brands, we want people, we want everyone to get involved, and we don't want to scare them off, but I think it's just they get bad advice or they don't have the right people working on, and it's just there's some missing link, because we've seen this happen 1,000 times now with like some of the largest brands in the world, and they just miss, and they shouldn't.
They miss
so
where they don't need to miss. Like Nat Geo didn't.
Exactly.
I honestly, I'm like, put me on the team, put me in, coach. Like I feel like I could craft such an interesting Nat Geo campaign. But, I'm sure it's partly a resourcing problem. Like these brands, so many of them, you're cutting back on everything. So you have some tiny little budget that you allocate to like throw a bone to this weird thing that you think might matter someday. So you're probably understaffed. Who knows what's going on there? But yes, so disappointing, because I actually really was like kind of into this one and was like, okay, I want like a cool piece of photography. It's also sad for the photographers who were participating in this, who presumably were going to get components of the mint, and who knows. Well, that's just quick hits. I don't have like long-winded thoughts on these, but I do think it's interesting. You have the lawsuit right now around our AI works copyrightable, and some folks who are suing, claiming that some of these AI art generators, I think Stable Diffusion or Dolly or one of them or both of them, who knows, they learned on basically thousands of artists' works how to create art. And what does that mean? Like, they're on the one hand, I kind of fall into the view of like, hey, look, like everybody takes influences from other people. Like you as an artist learned by looking at other artists' work. But when you're talking about something that can literally, you can be like, hey, create this in the style of Salvador Dali. And they're just completely replicating the style. I don't know. What do you think?
it's uncharted territory. I find it fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to following just how this all progresses, because I see both sides of it. I, like you, lean on the side that it is taking inspiration from other pieces, just like a non-AI, like a traditional artist would do. It is just doing it on such a scale that is frightening almost, and it's totally changing the game. Like it is very, very different.
And then there's this other side of the coin. I kind of conflated two things here, which is does the AI owe anything to the artist that it studied from? But then B, are AI works themselves copyrightable? And this gets into some interesting territory. There was a lawsuit. Gosh, let me see if I can get this right. I'm just remembering this. Okay, there was a photographer who was working somewhere with monkeys, and the monkey took a selfie using the photographer's camera.
Yeah.
And then the photographer sold that picture all over the place and made money off of it. And PETA sued the photographer, or claiming that was actually the monkey's intellectual property. And what happened was the judge actually just threw the whole case out. Like, it never kind of got ruled on. But this is something I remember coming across this when I was trying to look into some of the stuff around generative art and like the Yuga Labs, like the lawsuit around Yuga Labs, like who actually owns the copyright to Yuga Labs images. Like, can we as individual holders of apes actually even own that copyright? Or because it's generative art and a machine had a hand in that, like, is it not owned? Like, whatever. Like, there's all those questions. So, but I feel like that there's something with that will come into play with this AI question of like, can I copyright something that, I put all the prompts in, but an AI created it? It's the same question with generative art. Like, where is that line drawn? So, again, we won't dive too deep here today, though. I'm sure it'll be a conversation we'll have many times over.
Yeah.
The Tribeca Film Festival is selling their VIP tickets as NFTs. I don't have the details here, so I don't want to dive too deep, but I wanted to flag it because that's sick.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it.
Let me see. Get your Tribeca Festival NFT pass now. A unique piece of art that doubles as a VIP pass. I mean, when is the Tribeca Film Festival? Maybe I should pick one of these bad boys up. How much do these things cost? I'm here and I'm in New York. I'm gonna look into it. Okay. Stay tuned. And then Canon, the camera company, has filed a trademark application for its own marketplace.
Interesting.
For an NFT marketplace. Again, don't have a ton of details, which is why these are the quick hits at the end of the episode, but all things that I think are very interesting.
Yeah. I'm curious. I have no details info, but my gut is that it would be like their version of a centralized marketplace, like the Snow Crash thing where they want, but who knows? Maybe it's a photography specific marketplace or something.
I'm hoping the optimist in me would say, hopefully it's right. It's just more verticalized, because I think we will see that probably marketplaces that cater to specific needs, because you're going to want to sort on something different if you're looking at photography than if you're looking at house deeds. And I imagine all of those will eventually live on marketplaces. And so the question is, how does that play out? But you're right. Maybe it's just like a centralized Snow Crash style thing that sucks. And anyway, all right, we'll find out. Okay, Zeneca, thank you so much as always for joining. Thanks for all you out there listening. If today felt like a messier episode, it was on my end. We'll get into it, but it was a little bit more of a scramble this morning than usual. So I apologize, but we'll be back to our, I don't know, maybe it didn't even seem messier to people. And they're like, what are you talking about, Carly? But I know in my head that it was messier. Next week we'll be back normal, less messy. And thanks as always for joining and for listening. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Overpriced JPEGs. If you liked this conversation, if you liked this episode, please go ahead and hit subscribe. It helps me out, it helps the show out, and it means you will get alerts and updates when we post new content. Thanks again.